Okay, guys, listen. I already went live like twice today, but this was just really sitting on my head. Or I guess it wasn't sitting on my head, it was sitting on my heart. So I was like, I kept thinking about like, what is the irritation for me with the testimony today? And I finally have like, calmed down, gathered myself. Not calmed down because it's not my case. I don't care. But I sat there and I was like, okay, what is it? Let me check my microphone because I want to make sure you can hear me clearly. Yes, you can. Okay, great. I was trying to figure out like what is it about the testimony today that was so kind of irritating. And what it was is it wasn't that it was irritating. This is what I think the challenge was with today's testimony. So, whenever you take a break, usually the judge controls when the break was. But today, Jane Doe was telling her story. She was going into her facts. And the prosecution had said, well, Your Honor, I think this is a good time for us to break for the day. And we're all sitting in that room like, girl, what? Give us some OT. You ain't gotten into nothing yet. We trying to figure out what's what and what's going on here. Thank you, guys. I'm in my pajamas. Whoever said I look nice. And literally, we were like, no, this is not actually a good place to stop because we're not sure why she's here yet. Thank you, Alberta Daniels. Thank you so much for joining. In other words, I think that where the prosecution chose to end for the day likely did a disservice to Jane Doe and perhaps the power of her testimony, because literally the only testimony that we got from her at that point was as follows. We know that she has a child by someone else, a child that is an enemy of Diddy, like not a friend of Diddy's, a child who, yes, let's not name Jane Doe or any guesses you guys may have in this, that she, never really worked a job a day in her life. That was her testimony. She said she did one semester of community college. Then she had this child later that was by whomever. We don't know if the dad is rich. We don't know if he's poor. All we know is that the dad is an enemy of a public enemy of Diddy, or like a known enemy. Basically, they very much don't like each other, right? Of Diddy, and that her sole source of income was child support prior to meeting Diddy. She did not work. Her income was child support. And then they got into facts where they alluded that when she got with Diddy, her source then became Diddy giving her $10,000 a month allowance. And my issue with where they paused is that if this is supposed to be the other woman alleging as trafficking, then at least give us some information, give us some facts that are going to help show and support that it's not the theme that the defense is saying, which is that they're saying this is just DV. Defense is also saying, hey, this is just a Me Too shakedown, where once Diddy settled with Cassie, all these people have now lined up to get money. And there's been no testimony here that she has any type of lawsuit against Diddy. In fact, it was the opposite. She was with Diddy all the way until the day he was arrested. The day he was arrested. So I think the challenge is you should never leave a witness on the stand where the jury can't figure out why in the hell is this lady a witness for the prosecution? Why? Because I can't figure it out. Somebody said, I love your demeanor. The haters were hating on your last live. Don't mind them. Help being amazing. Thank you. I think she also has proof about it. That's what I'm waiting on. So I think that's my point. I think that the prosecution ended the day on a bad note. You want to end the day where on a mic drop type of moment, or a juicy moment where you feel like, oh, we just got a little bit of the facts tomorrow. I can't wait to hear the rest of such and such story. Let me tell you something. As an example, Well, and this is in part because it sounds like right now the sole coercion she experienced was her boyfriend telling her he wouldn't keep paying her rent. So Diddy had said to her, they elicited testimony where she said for the first 3 months it was just love and they were so loving and it was nothing weird. And then by that third month, by about May, for the first time, he asked her to have a freak off, but they called it a hotel night. She thought it would be a one off thing. And then he asked for it every time thereafter. And that approximately 100% of the time that they were intimate thereafter, Diddy asked her to be with an escort that he would find. They were usually, y'all, these men were usually like them Chippendales type of men that you'd get from a male review where they'd be one of those, male like hookers or male strippers. That's what he would find for her. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. MD gifted 5 memberships. Thank you so much, MD. I really appreciate you. Yeah. So it was, yeah. And it was that Diddy would find those strippers. And then after that, he'd want her to be intimate with that person while he watched. And then it was only until after that guy would finish on her that Diddy would then dismiss that guy and then want the two of them to romp in the hay on top of that other man's jizz. Listen, the point is this. If you end on that, all you're ending on is a freaky dicky story. And she said, when they said, was there ever a time then you didn't want to do those? She said, yes. They said, what happened? She said, well, he'd get upset with me. He would be dismissive. And how did you feel? She said, well, I didn't want to upset him. So I didn't want to talk about it. I just wanted to keep him happy. I wanted to make him happy. Well, everybody wants to make somebody happy if you love them. I've had a boyfriend I wanted to make happy. You know what I learned how to do? I learned how to make French toast. I didn't let nobody jizz all over my scalp and my arms and my elbows and then romp around with my boyfriend. Now, we're all different. That guy also wasn't paying my bills. And ultimately, she said there was a period where they had broken up a little bit, just a short little while, like a few months, right? Somebody said, thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, and hit that subscribe, guys, if you hadn't already. Hit that subscribe and hit that like. So again, there was a time they had a little break. And she talked again about expressing that she didn't want to do any more of these with these guys, with these prostitutes. And that Diddy then said, well, okay, then I guess you want to break up. So if you want to break up, that's fine. But I'm going to pay your rent for 3 more months. After that, I'm not paying the rent for somebody I'm not dating. I think that makes sense. You shouldn't pay the rent for somebody you're not dating. That's okay. But that is not coercion. So I wish we could have seen some form of coercion before the prosecution chose to end the day today. So what I'm saying is, here we go. Somebody said, I'm still so confused about them finding folks off of Craigslist. And Diddy wanted her to do it to these people unprotected, talking about, oh, they get tested all the time. No, porn stars get tested all the time. Y'all, that's actually how Drake ended up with his baby mama. She was a porn star. And porn stars not only get tested, but the women are required generally to have some type of birth control. Usually it's an IUD, but it varies. So Drake had that baby with that girl, that funny face girl. No offense to her. He had a baby with that girl because with her being a porn star, he felt like she was clean, so he didn't have to worry about diseases and did it with her. And then he assumed that she was assumed or thought, or I don't know what she said, but that she was on birth control because she was a porn star. And obviously, they don't want you to get pregnant all up in your little sets and stuff. Thank you, CM, for the super chat. I do appreciate it. And 10, would this be considered as trafficking? I'm trying to put this on the screen. I don't know what's going on with this. And then, so my question is, I don't think it would be. Leisha M, no, what I'm hearing so far, that's not as trafficking. And more than that, I feel like there's no way that this is the level of strength of the evidence. They're going to have bombshells tomorrow. They're going to have something. What I'm expecting, I don't know why it's not letting me put this on the screen. It's pissing me off. Let me see. Let me see if I can get on the screen later. But Asia, or was it? how do I say it? Yeah, Asia M, you asked, would this be considered as trafficking? And I'm going to say, not this. No. And more than that, this doesn't even compare to the things that Cassie testified about, right? So I don't want to, yeah, at most it could be some prostitution at most, but it's prostitution for the men that they hired for sure. I would not say that it would be prostitution for the girlfriend because the argument there is too strong to be like, I'm Diddy. Of course I'm going to take care of my girls. He gave Young Miami an allowance. Young Miami said she got $100,000 a month. And this girl's over here getting 10,000. Girl, if you don't go somewhere with yourself, that doesn't make sense. So what I'm saying is I feel that, listen, please follow the context. But basically what I'm saying is tomorrow, if that girl don't have no story about her getting knocked in between a washer and dryer, stomped out, kicked in the head, stomped on the throat, prosecution going to have a problem. Because coercion is not simply, I'm not paying your $10,000 a month rent. First of all, why is your rent $10,000? Why is your rent $10,000? And why don't you have a job, Miss Lady? That's not going to work. You need to get stomped out tomorrow. I don't want it for you. I'm not wishing that on you. But I'm saying, do y'all see what I'm saying in the chat? I don't know. We can shake my Astroglide or not. I'm too tired to find the Astroglide. Somebody said they better be lucky. What is it? They better be lucky they didn't catch that issue can't get rid of. That's what I was thinking. Diddy definitely lowballed her $10,000 for all she had to do. I agree. That was real nasty. Somebody said maybe it was to show the fact that he kept doing FOs. Okay, see, that'll work. And you can get more prostitution evidence. Absolutely, we're there. But she's listed in the indictment as a victim for whom was trafficked. So to get to traffic, we need force and coercion. And let's not compare the I'm not paying your rent to Cassie's we're not putting out an album. I'm keeping you under a 10-year contract. I am sending tapes to your parents. That's not the same. Can we agree on that? Somebody said Miami had clout, though, and he latched onto that. Could be. It says, are they putting Young Miami on the stand? No. I mean, Diddy might. The prosecution will not. Yeah, no, you got to knock him. Yeah, no, you're going to have to knock him between the wash and dry. I'm saying you're going to need something that is going to be more comparable to what Cassie experienced to have. Because think of it this way, guys. Even what Cassie experienced, many people are saying was not as trafficking. So if they don't think it was as trafficking with her, they're surely not going to think that it is with a woman who says the coercion of the force was related to financial abuse or financial manipulation. More than that, I'm worried about Jane on cross-examination. They're not going to turn her loose. They're not going to turn her loose. Because check this out. When she gets on cross-examination, there's a strong likelihood what the defense is going to say. Because she opened up the door to the issue because she got up on that stand, said her two sources of income are child support and Diddy. So you know what they're going to ask her on cross? So tell us how much you get for child support. Oh, she's going to be like, not want to say, right? She's not going to want to say. Go ahead. You're going to have to tell everybody how much you get for child support. And only one of two things will happen. She's going to get, I guarantee you, this woman, based on my understanding of her baby daddy and whatever, this lady gets between $7,000 and $12,000 a month would be my educated legal guess as an attorney. I'm not outing her. I'm not sharing any new facts. And so this they got to bring up. They're going to bring up. They have to. She already brought it in there because she said that was her income source. And she said she felt manipulated by Diddy to keep doing these freak offs or else he wasn't going to pay her $10,000 a month rent. First of all, again, this jury is not going to understand you having $10,000 a month rent. But then they're going to say, well, how much child support were you getting? And when this lady gets on that stand and says that she's getting anywhere between $7,000 and $12,000, how y'all think that working class jury is going to view that? Oh, you felt coerced? That wasn't enough for you. You got to lay on your back and get 7 to 12. You're going to have a disconnect with the jury. Does that make sense? Hold on, I'm saying. Child support will tell it won't tell you who's the daddy, but it'll give you, oh, who's the baby daddy. No, well, the documents will, but they won't put those on the screen. Nothing's wrong with living reasonably, but I think arguably, there are some people that would say a $10,000 a month house isn't reasonably. That's wanting to live very comfortably. They have to be sitting on something good. They have to be. I refuse to believe Comey, the female Comey on the prosecution, or I keep forgetting her first name, is very bright. Damian Williams, the U.S. attorney who initially charged Diddy, is brilliant. Now, to be fair, though, when they initially charged him, there was only one count of trafficking, and that was Cassie. I believe they did not add Gina. It wasn't Gina. No, Gina's not doing sex trafficking. They did not add Jane's charge until after Damian Williams, the initial U.S. attorney, left and someone else took over this case. So my point is, if she gets up on that stand and tells them, oh, she felt coerced. Here, follow me here. If she gets up there and says that she's getting $7,000 to $12,000 a month in child support, yet felt coerced because financially she couldn't survive on that, she will lose this New York City jury. Because there are some of those people on that jury that don't make that from getting up and going to work every day. And they sure don't receive any child support. Somebody said $10K is not normal living in LA. Yeah, remember, she's getting $10K plus the child support. So my point is, if she gets up on that stand and she says she's getting $7,000 of child support plus the 10 from Diddy, but still felt that $17,000 a month created financial coercion, there's going to be a disconnect. And I hope that you guys can see that or understand. That's what I meant when I was like flailing and talking about what I was talking about today. It says she could have, hold on. You were talking to somebody in LA right now, you need 10K. I hear that. But let's also remember, she could have had 10K to live. She chose to spend 10K on a rental house, not even a mortgage, not even, will you help me own a house? But 10K a month on a rental, you could have had a mortgage, and you could have had a mortgage for almost $1 million home. Yeah, 10K is not normal rent in LA. Let's just be honest here. And more than that, now remember, prior to that, she said she was living somewhere on the East Coast. We're not outing her, but she was somewhere on this. And I'm honestly saying, I don't even know if it was LA, but I know it was California. Could have been anywhere. I just know it was California. I'm just assuming LA because Diddy had said, Diddy has a house in LA and he likes his girlfriends living close to him. So that's just my guess. She didn't have to live. Yeah, she didn't have to live in a 10K place. So my point is exactly, if you don't have to live a 10K, a $17,000 to $20,000 a month lifestyle, right? I think you're going to have difficulty explaining to a jury that you did, actually in bed stuff you didn't really want to because you felt so coerced, because otherwise, how would you pay your rent? Instead, I think that jury, the defense is going to get up there and make her say how much she got in child support. They might even put the document up on the screen. We won't get to see it. And then go back and forth and make her feel a way about herself that she's sitting up there saying that. Yeah, 7 to 10 a month. Said all her boyfriends are celebrities too. Are they? Okay, hold on. Jay, what you got to say? It says, if I were a prosecutor, would you have charged Diddy in the first place? Also, oh, my vision is so bad at night. I'm sorry. Also, are there any other prosecutors you've spoken to who would? No, I haven't talked to any other prosecutors about it. Yes, I would charge him. I would have charged him with the prostitution and the RICO. Those two, I have seen evidence of those, prostitution and the RICO. And the strongest RICO charges are the bribery, tampering with witnesses, the prostitution, and the drug distribution. But however, I do understand the strategy of charging him with the trafficking stuff, because by charging him with that, you're able to get in some of these really damaging stories, such as Cassie's stories about the beatings and those different things. Without those stories, I don't think you'd get the level of sympathy that you need from the jury to get a conviction. Does he have any weapons? Nope, no weapons charges. Nope. This case needs more of his staff. And where are his other workers? Oh, yeah, their staff's all in there. We're going to hear from KK next week. So that's all coming. More staff will be next week. So this week, they're just going to finish. Lord, hold on. Wait a minute. I just realized something. Okay, I was getting too big for my britches. I just realized something. When they talked about Miss Thing, Jane Doe, I remember they said they were going to start with Thursday and their hope was to be done next Thursday. Child. They better not have this lady on the stand that long. But that also means she's seen a lot of stuff. And it means we haven't scratched the surface, which was my hope. Here's what I could see from the prosecution, that actually, yes, KK is testifying. There's no question about it. KK is a co-defendant, so she's going to testify. I think somebody else, all I've seen is, yeah, they said 5 days for her. I hope she doesn't have to go through that. But if it's going to be 5 days, that means she's seen a lot. Now, what I was expecting to hear as far as coercion is that perhaps Diddy recorded her and threatened to show the tape or send it to her baby daddy, who she herself testified doesn't get along with Diddy. In which case that baby daddy would likely use whatever's on that video to mess up her custody and visitation and maybe get the child. And therefore, that would terminate her sole income source, which is child support. That's what I see. And that's also what I anticipate the defense will use as their cross is, hey, you're really just here because your one source of income left, which is child support, is on the line because your baby daddy is trying to take you to court because you've been running around with Diddy doing drugs and doing all this shenanigans. So somebody said that baby daddy is coming for that child. Sure is. Sure is. Says the opening statement says he did. Wait. Hold on. I'm sorry, guys. My vision is so bad at night. That baby daddy is coming for that child. Yes, they are just like, they already said he blackmailed her and also kicked in her doors. Okay, now we're gotten it. Like I said, I don't want this. I don't wish this on any human. But the prosecution just did a disservice on where they ended. End in a way where we sympathize with her. Take us home feeling sorry for her. What happened today is they took us home going, I know they didn't waste our time with this. I know. No. I know y'all not about to sit up here and tell us this girl was coerced because somebody was cutting off a $10,000. No. So now, I mean, it makes sense. Thank you for bringing that up. Attorney, keep it a rack. Did I recognize her? I know. Yeah. I mean, everybody in the courtroom recognized her. No more witnesses. They're proven liars. Oh no. No, and let me clarify. I had to change my caption from earlier. I don't think she's lying. But I think what I said full of it, I thought that she was ridiculous to claim feeling coerced into having sex simply based on not wanting him to stop paying her rent. Now, girl, you know that's not true. However, if it comes out he was blackmailing her with tapes, 100% believe that. Or that he was doing anything that would mess with her child custody, I believe Diddy would do that. And then that makes you a victim for sure. No more witnesses. Well, I would too. You got a babysitter to do drugs and freak offs. Yeah, I miss my baby. Oh yeah. Ain't nobody daddy. Ain't gonna be a daddy out there alive. Not no good one. That would be okay with you just sitting up having freak offs, this, that, and the third, and choosing to not get no job because you want to be available to Puffy to run around and do drugs and nasty stuff. Is this your bare face? Yes. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I had to wash this face. I got some moisturizer on. That's it. It's not going to happen. Yeah, and she's in a really bad place, right? Because she doesn't get along with her baby dad. And now she's got the government on her back because of her boyfriend, who she knows her boyfriend has buku other girlfriends. I mean, hey, boo. Hey, Destiny. Yes, but she did want a job. She wanted to be an OnlyFans model. That's right. She wanted to be an OnlyFans model. And that was the other thing. I was like, girl, you didn't put, you need to work on that strategy. She did talk about, she presented to Puff that one of her homegirls was an OnlyFans model and suggested it. And she wanted to do the same. And Puff was not with it. But, and she said, they asked her, well, how much did your friend make on OnlyFans? She said, 4 million. They said, well, did you ever tell Puff that? She said, no. I'm like, girl, the minute my man said no and was only giving me a $10,000 allowance, I said, let me tell you something, boo-boo. All right, well, if you're not going to give me a $10,000 allowance, we're going to up what you got me. We're going to have to get me up to 30. Otherwise, I'm going to have to go ahead and go, what does Lil Boosie say? Put your pussy on live. Sorry, I should say that. Put your pee on live. Remember how I used to say that? Put your pee on live. I'm going to have to put my pee on the OnlyFans, guys. I'm gonna have to get that $30,000 a month. We're gonna have to shake. Something's gonna shake, and it might be my vagina, so to speak. Does that make sense? Yeah. She also said she was a content creator, but that kind of fell to the side. She was spending so much time with Diddy, but at the end of the day, hey girl, should have put your pussy on live, and just saw where that would work. But I definitely would have tried to renegotiate. Give me like a $30,000 allowance. Also, I don't know if she ever heard that Young Miami was getting $100,000 a month, but they were definitely dating him at the same time. So I would have went back to the table and said, now listen, I know I'm not famous. I know I'm just a regular person, but if you over here giving her 100, you could at least give me the 30, 40. Somebody said, I love this class. Put your pussy on live. Somebody said, I think Diddy put Ray J's name in it, knowing that Bono Dealer's name wasn't that. He was shooting shots. You know what? I didn't even repeat, like a lot of other influencers. We were all there in the courtroom yesterday. They referenced the whole Ray J's name being dropped by Bono as a drug dealer. I knew for a fact they weren't talking about the real Ray J. In fact, when she mentioned that Ray J, they said, Ray J, the singer? She was like, no, I don't think it was that same person. It's not, I don't think. Like, you would know. She would know if it was the real Ray J. So I was like, I didn't even address that in my recap. That was just some silliness. Thank you guys. Oh, I appreciate it. Yeah, $10,000 for her. Didn't get it, girl. So we're gonna see. I'm nervous for her. I'm also concerned about her being on the stand for 5 days. Excuse me, because her being on the stand for 5 days means there's not gonna be that much time for KK. KK's got to hit that stand. And I believe if the prosecution doesn't call at least one security guard, they're going to be in big trouble. So my concern, if they called a security guard, they would need at least a day for a security guard because they're going to need direct and then they're going to need time for cross. So if they're saying they're thinking she's going to go to Thursday, well, and they talking about they going to end on Friday, ain't no way there's time for that in KK. And I feel like KK's got to come up there and testify. Oh, yeah. Yeah, she was. This was a mess. All right. So I just wanted to give you that, my little final analysis, my final thoughts on Jane Doe. I don't think she was lying. I think that the prosecution ended at a bad spot that didn't allow us to feel any sympathy for her because it really just came off as though she was a spoiled brat girlfriend who didn't want to work and at the same time wanted to be entitled to having her bills paid, whether or not they were together or not. And that's just not a good place, I don't think, to end a day. How do okay, as a lawyer, how do I honestly feel the prosecution doing? I think they're doing pretty good, actually. They've proven prostitution. I like their tone. I like their demeanor. They are there. It's very clear that they're just there to prove up the case. They're not for the shenanigans. They're not for the showboating. They're not for any of that. They're there to prove up their case. I do think they made a huge misstep by not having a Black woman on that prosecution. They're going to miss, and I've seen them miss opportunities to communicate with the masses, to communicate different concepts with them. So, so I would say that I'd give them a B plus, and I'd also give a B plus to the defense. I mean, they're what and what. They are what and what. So, all right, I'm going to be back tomorrow, guys. Give you more courtroom commentary. But I just had to, that was just on my spirit about Jane Doe. Gosh, bless her heart. I'm honestly going to pray for her, because having to be on that stand for 5 days, I can't even imagine. And I sure hope that the prosecution was able to get at least one of those security guards to testify next week. And KK better put her butt up there. But is there reasonable doubt? There is no reasonable doubt on prostitution for me. There is no reasonable doubt on bribery. No reasonable doubt on tampering with witnesses or narcotics distribution. I think each of those have been proven, and have been proven under RICO. So y'all have a great night, and we'll talk again tomorrow. I'm your legal bestie. Hit that subscribe. Attorney Symone.